everyone, welcome back to Redditly. Today's video is an update to yesterday's upload, so make sure you click on the link at the top right of the screen to watch that first. It's titled, Update, Fooled My Wife into Thinking I Was Cheating, then Thermonuclear Shinobi Ghosted, and Served her Christmas Day. Please make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a future upload from us. Let's get right into the story. Okay, so since none of the other relationship subs are allowing me to post an update, and I can't post new topics on r/nuclear revenge, I'm putting the update here on my profile. There are two key events that happened over the course of the last 2 weeks, and I want to highlight before meeting with my soon-to-be ex-wife and her lawyer. Original post can be read here. Christmas Day was the first full day I spent in my new apartment. It's still a work in progress as I have more stuff I want to get. But overall, I've made it my home, since I'm going to be here for 2 years at least. Boys and the eldest GF came over and spent a good portion of the day with me. The GF brought over treats she made and also whipped up a really nice meal. I got to sit and talk with my sons in a way I hadn't done in a really long time, and it was nice. My big sis also came over with more goodies and hung out with us also. It had been the first time she'd ever seen her nephews in nearly a year. Having all of them around did me some real good. As if I were by myself, I think I would have just drank myself into a stupor. Everyone cleared out around 8ish, and I decided I wanted to go hang out with Joey and his wife Claudia. Hung out with them for a couple hours, had a couple drinks, and then went back home. The next big development happened last week, December 29th, 2020. Around midday, I got a text from Nina asking if I was busy that night. I of course wasn't, so we agreed to meet up after I got off of work. She shows up and we go to a diner not far from where I work. Here in New York City, we're doing indoor dining at 25% capacity thanks to the Rona. But there's mostly no trouble getting seats because there's so many of us opt not to dine out as much these days regardless. So after we're seated and order the food, Nina pretty much lays out all her cards on the table, and honestly, I knew this was coming. She basically confessed that she likes me all the way back when we were teenagers, but never got the chance to tell me since Sue swooped in and scooped me up before she could. For context, I've known Nina longer than Sue by 2 years. As I mentioned, she's been the fourth point of social square of myself, Oz and Joey. We were the social outcasts in high schools, the raver kids who didn't fit in with all the other cliques. Back then, Nina had a weight problem and was diabetic. She was a heavy-set goth chick who was super cool, but no guy would ever give a second chance at that. But we always had chemistry. These days, Nina is a personal trainer and a yoga instructor. She was the ugly duckling who grew into one hell of a beautiful swan, if I must say. Long story short, we decided that upon the finalization of my divorce, we are going to start seeing each other. And yeah, I slept with her that night, took her back to my new pad, and we had a grand old time. Am I ashamed of sleeping with her? Hell no. Nina's been a better friend to me than Sue ever was. That's not saying Sue wasn't my best friend, but through the near quarter of a century I've known Nina, she's always supported me. Even so much as I learned that day, willingly taking a step back from her own feelings to allow me to pursue and eventually start a life with Sue. That resonated with me on a level I didn't think it would. That kind of selflessness towards another person is a definition of real love. I know it sounds like I'm just justifying it in my head that sleeping with her was the right decision. To me it was, and I plan on exploring what's to come with Nina and I with total commitment. Okay, on to yesterday, the day I met my wife with her lawyers to discuss the divorce. It's been now 2 weeks since I ghosted my soon-to-be ex-wife. Past Monday, I got a phone call from my staking that Sue's attorney has scheduled a meeting for us to discuss the terms of divorce on January 1st, 2021, which was yesterday. I met with him with the Tuesday morning to discuss the terms I'm wanting. Long story short, uncontested divorce under the grounds of marital neglect from Sue. My terms are full division of assets and me selling my half of the house ownership to her. She can have it. We keep our respective vehicles, I keep my cabin in the Poconos, and under the pretenses of marital neglect, she gets no spousal support from me. As for 17, what I'll offer to my son, as from here on, he's free to choose who he wants to reside with following the divorce, which will most likely be me. So Wednesday comes, and I show up to my lawyer's office dressed in my Johnny Cash best. My wife and her lawyer. She looks like S, barely holding it together. I give the stone face. I won't bore you with the lawyer babble, but our lawyer presented an offer for terms of reconciliation. I shot them down almost as soon as she finished listing the details of the request. Like I said, I'll spare you the details of the meeting. Long story short, we agreed to a legal separation leading to an uncontested divorce. The only revision is that I will pay her $653 a month of temporary spousal support for the cost of utilities until she's gainfully employed again. Yep, she got fired for effing POS. He got canned as well. Up to a year after the finalization, I make enough that it won't hurt me financially even if she drags her feet finding a new job, and she's got enough in her savings to live off of for quite some time. Once a full calendar year has passed after the finalization date of the divorce is passed, she's on her own. Small price to pay for being rid of a cheating ass. I'll take roughly 3 months for things to go through, so early April, if there's no cock-ups, I'll be free of her. So after the meeting, my lawyer gives me some final words before telling me he'll be in touch to update me on the progress of the filing. Back out on the street, Sue chases me down and asks, can we talk? I figured I'd give her at least that. She held it together fairly well in the meeting, but outside let the waterworks flow, saying how sorry she was and how she never meant it to go as far as it did. She says she never expected to fall in love with POS, but knew when she thought I was cheating how wrong it was to betray her own husband in such a way. She asked me could I ever find it in my heart to forgive me, and that maybe in a few years we could try to start over, that she can't imagine what her life is going to be without me. I tell her to start imagining it soon, because this will be the last time I ever speak to her or see her. I tell her that 17 is almost a man, and old enough to make his own choices as to his own future. I said I gave her half my life and every ounce of love I had unconditionally, and she in her own words fell in love with another man. That there is absolutely no chance of me ever forgiving her, that all the love I had for her was slowly killed all of those months, that she confided and professed her love to POS, rather than coming to me and telling me she had any form of issue with how things were going with us. I told her I loved who she once was, but I hate who she stands before me, and that I'll never see her again. It'll be too soon. Here we are on a sidewalk in Midtown Manhattan, her making a scene crying her eyes out. A couple folk walk by and give side glances, but at that point I didn't care. I wasn't about to publicly humiliate her. I pretty much already socially and professionally destroyed her, but I needed to get the last bit of emotion I had for her out. I finished my telling her I didn't regret the 23 years spent being her husband. I regretted that in the 23 years she decided the easy way out was the better option, and I have our lovely sons of bitches on Reddit to thank for this one, because it popped in my head just seconds before I said it. For 23 years I thought she was mine, but it turned out it was just my turn. Put in my Raycons, turned around, and walked the F away. Later that night, her father calls me and apologizes. He praises me for always being a good man to his daughter, and tells me he's ashamed of her and that he raised her better than what she did. Not gonna lie, I'm going to miss the old man. My dad died years ago, so he's always been my default father figure since. But I can't see myself maintaining a relationship with anyone on her side of the family. After that call, I went on Facebook and symbolically changed my relationship status to divorced. Yeah, it's not final yet, but in my eyes, it's over and done. Like I said, when I made a Facebook post, it's an event, so plenty of folks started hitting me up over Messenger asking questions, and I laid it all out that I filed for divorce with Sue earlier in the day. Of course, Nina called me, shocked that I pulled the trigger so fast. Obviously, I was already in the process of it when we spoke, but she had no way of knowing how far it was along. I asked her if she could come over, and of course she comes a-running. We knocked boots again, and this time she stayed the night. We laid in my bed and talked into the wee hours of the morning, and I haven't felt this level of relief and connection in a really long time. Nina gets me, and I can't get enough being around her. Since the day she confided in me, she's all that's been on my mind. Yeah, I know some folk are gonna say it's effed up that I'm moving on so fast, but as far as I'm concerned, my marriage ended the day POS let Sue touch his pecker, so I'm about due. So yeah, that's it, that's the end. My divorce is in the works, and I'm moving on to start a relationship with Nina. I know in a comment response to someone I said I'd probably not marry her ever again, but that was before Nina came clean to me about how she felt towards me, and I can't deny that I felt the same. We're going to take it slow, and we're not announcing anything until the divorce with Sue is legal and official. As for Sue, I could give a flying F what happens to her. She could move POS into our old home for all I care. I'll be getting my money for the house over the course of 2021, 4 quarterly installments, and aside from the $653, I will pay out directly to her savings account monthly. I never have to see or speak to her again. To all of the words of support, encouragement, and praise, I eternally thank you all.